The world teetered on the brink. A new plague, the Silent Reaper, swept across continents, its victims numbering in the millions. Scientists worked feverishly, desperate for a cure. Then, a miracle. A child, born with a natural immunity, whose unique biology held the key. A single, agonizing catch, extracting the cure would inevitably claim their young life. The Global Council convened, their faces etched with despair and impossible hope. Humanity's survival depended on a decision no one should ever have to make. The fate of billions hanging by a thread, resting on the life of one innocent soul. Can you justify the murder of an innocent for the greater good? What is the true cost of salvation? Is a child's life a price humanity is willing to pay?
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This dilemma plumbs the depths of utilitarianism versus deontology. Utilitarianism demands the greatest good for the greatest number, making the sacrifice a rational, if chilling, choice. Deontology, however, asserts that certain actions are inherently wrong, regardless of outcome. To sacrifice the child violates an absolute moral imperative against taking innocent life. The psychological toll of such a decision is immense, creating a moral injury that could shatter even the most resilient psyche. It forces us to confront the terrifying question: what atrocity are we willing to commit to preserve our own existence? Years of torment have eroded your spirit. Your partner, once the center of your world, has become your prison. Emotionally, physically, psychologically, they've broken you. Hope is a forgotten word. Then a whisper of escape. A clandestine organization offers a radical solution. A procedure that will completely purge all memories of your tormentor from your mind, freeing you from their grip. The catch? It will also erase every trace of your relationship, good and bad, effectively removing a significant portion of your past and, perhaps, a part of who you are. A clean slate, but at what cost to your very identity? Is true freedom possible if it requires forgetting your past? Is the you without these memories still you? What identity do you forfeit to escape suffering?
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This explores the intricate relationship between memory, identity, and trauma. To erase painful memories might seem like a shortcut to healing, but our experiences, even the horrific ones, shape who we become. Choosing to forget might protect you from present pain, but could leave a void, an unacknowledged past that impacts your future self in unforeseen ways. Conversely, living with the trauma can be a living hell, a constant battle against the past. This dilemma forces us to weigh the integrity of our personal narrative against the desperate need for peace, asking if forgetting is a form of self-betrayal or the ultimate act of self-preservation. For centuries, humanity has built its empires on a tapestry of convenience and carefully constructed untruths. Political machinations, personal secrets, corporate deceptions, they grease the wheels of our modern world. Now, a device has been unearthed, a relic of an ancient, hyper-advanced civilization, the Veritas Engine. Once activated, it broadcasts every hidden truth, every concealed lie, every unspoken thought, across the globe, instantly and irrevocably. No secret will remain. No hypocrisy will stand. The world will be stripped bare, naked before the unforgiving light of absolute truth. Do you dare to pull the lever? Can society withstand the raw, unfiltered truth? Is ignorance truly bliss? What horrors will be unveiled, and what foundations will crumble?
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This scenario examines the fragile nature of societal order and personal relationships, built often on necessary fictions and unspoken agreements. Activating the Veritas Engine promises justice and ultimate transparency, but it also guarantees unprecedented chaos. Marriages would dissolve, governments would collapse, and global economies would implode under the weight of revealed corruption. The psychological impact of realizing everyone you've ever known harbors secrets, some benign, many malicious, would be devastating. This dilemma forces us to question whether humanity is truly ready for ultimate truth, or if our sanity depends on the comforting veil of selective ignorance. The alchemist's potion shimmers before you, promising eternal life, boundless knowledge, and freedom from the relentless march of time. A chance to witness millennia unfold, to conquer every fear of mortality. But the ancient text holds a chilling caveat. For every century you exist, to renew the elixir's power and maintain your immortal state, you must personally choose and extinguish the life of someone you deeply love. Their sacrifice fuels your continued existence, a gruesome tide to eternity. The faces of those you cherish flash before your eyes. Do you drink? Can eternal life justify an eternal cycle of murder and grief? Is true love possible when it carries such a terrible price? What kind of monster would you become?
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This dilemma dives into the dark side of ultimate power and the nature of love and loss. Accepting immortality at this cost would transform you into a being perpetually scarred by unimaginable grief and guilt. The psychological burden of choosing which loved one to sacrifice, and then living with that decision for another 100 years, would be an existential nightmare. Over millennia, what would love even mean to you? Would you become detached, viewing others as temporary fuel for your existence? Or would each sacrifice chip away at your soul until nothing human remained? It forces us to confront whether the desire for life can ever justify the systematic destruction of that which makes life meaningful, connection and love without a price. The climate catastrophe has reached its zenith. Arable land is dust, the oceans are toxic, and clean drinking water is a myth. Billions have perished, and the few remaining nations are on the brink. Your intelligence agency has located it, a vast, untouched aquifer deep beneath a neutral, uninhabited territory. Enough to sustain your own nation for generations, allowing your people to rebuild, to thrive. But claiming it would mean mobilizing military might, defying every international treaty, and effectively condemning the rest of the starving, thirsty world to oblivion. The future of your people, and the last flicker of humanity, rests on this one desperate act of survival. Is your nation's survival worth the extermination of all others? Does desperation negate morality? Who deserves to live when resources are finite?
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This scenario strips humanity down to its most primal instinct, survival. It pits national interest against global morality, forcing a choice between the ethical responsibility to all of humanity and the brutal necessity of preserving one's own people. The psychological weight of condemning billions for the sake of your own is monumental. You might ensure your nation's physical survival, but at what cost to its moral soul? Would a society built on such an atrocity truly be worth saving? This dilemma explores the lifeboat ethics on a global scale, asking if any moral framework can survive when existence itself is on the line, and if the ultimate act of self-preservation ultimately destroys what it means to be human.